Life should be based off the flow state. And what I mean by that is not the overthinking of how we do things, but by the effortless confidence to get something done. I'm Maxwell, and I help teach young men self-improvement and purpose. And when I mean the flow state is when you're so obsessed and so focused on one objective that you don't even realize that you're doing it at that point. Maybe it's homework, and you're finally getting in the momentum to write all the words, and then you snap out of it and you realize you just typed off 500 words. Or you've been working out for so long, you go into the gym and it flows effortlessly. You go to bench press, to machine dips, to tricep extensions, to lateral raises, and then you're done, or so forth. But you flow effortlessly through it, through the confidence of having that. Now, the flow state is a very important thing. It is a superpower in all avenues of life, is understanding what it takes to get into that state and what you need it for. You know, the other day I went to a wedding, and at first I was, kind of nervous. I was like, actually, I'm a shaky individual. It's just a genetic thing. But I was a little nervous. I was kind of scared. And then I realized from all my experiences in life that it's all just a flow state. If I want to sit in my mind and overthink, for example, I had to drive 2.5 hours to get there. The entire time I could think, oh no, what if, I shake someone's hand or I look at someone and I don't say hello. No, I'm just going to drive there. And you almost have to dumb yourself down. I think it's so easy for individuals to over-rationalize, overthink, become a intellectual. But you hear people talk about just turn your brain off. And that's kind of true. But with turning your brain off, yes, it's immaculate because to get back to this wedding story is I was scared to talk to people. And then I realized, let me just turn my brain off, join a social circle, conversate with people, jump in, make jokes, be witty, dance. And then I didn't even give myself a second to think about what if I'm doing something odd. And when you allow yourself to go into flow state, to have utter confidence in yourself and feel fulfilled is an immaculate thing. And to go with what I was kind of interjecting this story with was it is all relying on your base self. What I mean about that is if you are an overthinker like myself, you're an intellectual, you like to nitpick everything, you could plan your entire day out to the millisecond. And that kind of gives you not only so many things go throughout your mind that you can be confident when something happens, but you also think about so much stuff, you stress out. So if you build foundations of, all right, social situation. Okay, if I was just to turn my brain off and be my older self, I would be socially anxious because I didn't know any social cues. So you do have to be odd and think, like, should I jump in right now? Should I say something? And then when you build up that skill for social situations and charisma at this point, you build it up and then you can turn your brain off and realize you've built up the days of skills. That's why it's important to go to the gym and you write down your workouts, what you're going to do, how you would do them, and you build the effort, just like saying hello to random people every single day, shaking their hands, making wits and comments, and going out there and living life in such a way. Then you can turn your brain off and you are that individual you've always wanted to. You've entered that flow state. And for your work, you struggle. You could wake up at 5 a.m. trying to enter that flow state. You got to have your pre-rituals, put your headphones on, dim the lights, have your computer, and start fucking typing. You have a rough idea, and it's hard and it's difficult, but you push through it. And you have a rough idea what to do. Maybe you're like a YouTuber like me, and I know what a video needs. This is me just freestyling it because I wanted to enter a flow state. Like, I'm not even thinking about talking at this point. But it's like, all right, I need the title, the hook, the story, the call to action, and I'm just writing away. You have to enter flow states by having utter confidence in the ability of that task. it's hard to enter a flow state when you're trying to learn a new trick or a new skill. For example, skateboarding. You can't just magically bomb down a hill, do kick flips and all that. You gotta struggle. You gotta figure out how to do that stuff, and you try over and over and over again. But once you get into a flow state, dude, you're that man. You can defeat your competition. You can get it done. So to kind of transform this into something you can do is you find something you want to improve on. The whole idea of self-improvement. Whether it's the social skills, and you obsess over it. You make it a purpose of your life to think, all right, how can I become more sociable? And you learn every little detail, and you try the baby steps. And then once you build that confidence of doing it over and over again, you will ultimately have the skill by being able just to flow with it. Same thing with the gym, and vice versa. But another important thing is, if it is your work, like school or YouTube or entrepreneurship, whatever you do, is you need some pre-rituals to really help you go into it. Because you can't just go to like a party and say hello to everyone flawlessly. So you're gonna have the rough moments of getting into this flow state. For social examples, you have to become socially lubricant, I say. So you say hello to a few people. Maybe before the social event, you go out to the store and you're like, all right, I'm gonna say hello to 5 people, have some conversations, get rid of the awkwardness of that belief of thinking, oh, I'm not gonna be social. So once you're actually there, it flows effortlessly. You don't need drugs or alcohol to lubricate yourself. One thing I used to do is, before I'd go to the gym, I would listen to, what is it? Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. And I would just imagine myself walking into the gym, saying hello to like the front desk and the people at Stairmaster, in the locker room. I would go out, I'd imagine everyone I was going to talk to and how I would do it. So then when I listen to that song, I instantly get switched into a social mood by forming a habit that is correlated to a experience. Just like when you PR in the gym, you have those few songs that just amp you up. So if it's deep work, what I always do is I sit there and I first visualize getting into the flow state. I visualize before I even turn on the computer, I'm just going to effortlessly write. I'm going to be so fucking good at it that I'm going to get rid of all the self-doubt in my mind that I can just get it done perfectly. And you think that is stupid, but that is truly a real thing, is the belief of yourself. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to fail and get this done in an inappropriate way where it's not going to succeed, it's going to happen. Because you're telling yourself that it is not going to happen. If you tell yourself you're going to be effortlessly and immaculate with your work, with entering this flow state, then you are. So when you sit there, you imagine whatever you're going to do, whatever task that you need to lock in, get into a deep state of work, imagine it going well. And then you build the foundations of a habit that can draw you into it. Like the music. I'll listen to a certain playlist when I'm typing away, so it focuses myself onto the task. And then another thing is rewards. You know, when you're done with all your deep work, or with one thing, you can reward yourself. For example, in the morning when I'm spending time recording videos, script writing, so forth, morning routine, maybe even the gym, then I can respond to people on my phone. Then I can relax a little bit. Then I can read a book that I enjoy. Oh, after socializing with so many people, actually I don't reward myself. I'm just fucking fulfilled. And another thing is the fulfillment of being just flowing, man. All right, so my phone ran out of storage, but what I wanted to say was just to remind yourself what we learned today is to get into a flow state, to effortlessly go throughout life and accomplish the tasks that you want to do, is you need to find the skills to do that. You go and level up to build a confidence where you don't even have to where you don't have a single self-doubt in your mind that you can't do something. And then the rituals, like the music, the setting, the time of day, the little things that you do, and sitting there visualizing, the flawlessness of whatever you're going to do to get it done. Because entering a flow state is so much better than just overthinking. So I tell you right now to dumb yourself down in a way and just go out there and do it. Hopefully this video helped. Again, I'm Maxwell. I help teach young men find purpose in life. I appreciate if you like it. Like and subscribe, comment down below. I'm going to stop stuttering my words, and I'll see you in the next one.